Hello. Streaming music has been made more accessible today than it ever has been. However, small artists, and independent music writers are struggling now more than ever to make a sale. Before streaming platforms, musicians and artists relied heavily on physical music product sales, such as like albums, CDs, stickers, shirts, even any type of merchandise. Today, small artists now have to rely on something called per stream payouts. I believe streaming platforms such as Spotify and Apple Music give small independent artists a small fraction of the money compared to selling music products such as this. In this speech, I will discuss the per stream payments, the impact of streaming music, and how streaming platforms have changed the way we consume music as listeners. So, what is a per stream payout? A per stream payout is basically when an artist makes a fraction of a cent for every time their song is streamed. So, did you know that Spotify pays artists roughly around 0.003% and 0.005%? You can see how this is a problem for small artists. They would need to have thousands of streams on a song, even millions, right? Listen to full album sets, and sometimes that's not the case. So there has been a huge impact when it comes to streaming platforms. Since streaming platforms offer such an enormous library of music, artists face stiffer competitions and they don't stand out in such a saturated market. So with such a huge selection to choose from, independent artists are often overlooked. So you can see how struggling just to get noticed on platforms such as Spotify and Apple Music would be very difficult. So the result of streaming platforms can also lead to attention shorter spans and a playlist culture. So what is that? That's basically a shorter attention span. It means that songs are skipped after a few seconds and albums are often not even fully listened to. So you can see how that could also damage a small independent artist who's trying to make his way up, right? It's our responsibility as consumers to support the creative flow that comes with making music. That's what I believe. Now, many say that without streaming platforms, access to music may be difficult to find, but if the cost is the end of small, independent, local artists in your area, I don't think that's worth it. I think we should encourage creative flow, right? When we're kind of talking about these careers that they could build on with such an amazing platform, right? Us as listeners, local listeners, right? So there are many ways that we can support artists. Some of those ways we can support artists are the first thing that we can do is make streaming platforms not your main source of to listen to that artist, right? So how can we better support our local or small artists is a couple ways here. We want to buy their music. As I said, right, you want to buy a lot of their merch. I think it's a really good way. Attending concerts. So this guy right here, this album is it's a band called Snoozer. This was an opening band to a person I wanted to see. So I had no idea who these guys were. Small time group, and I really loved them. And I ended up buying their album, and they were nice enough to sign everything. And that's just how you could find local artists by attending these concert shows, right? So buying their music, CDs, vinyls, stickers. This is a band called Low Shadows, a band called Freak Slug, a shirt. Any type of merchandise, it really does help that local artist kind of get their foot in the door, and it's just a really good feeling, right? Another way you can do is also to share their music. A lot of times they'll give out little, this was actually a free CD. This is a band called Double Wish, and I went to their show. I didn't really know them either. I was there to see another band, but they gave me this for free because they want to share their music, and I think that's really cool. That's not something you see all the time. This used to be an old kind of tradition, giving out free CDs because they're just so small time, right? They don't have a name for themselves. So those are just some ways that you guys could share the music and the love is by attending these shows, buying their merchandise, and of course just talking about it. It's a really good thing. Just imagine being there at the start of an artist's journey until the artist makes it big. It's such a great feeling. I've done it many times, and it's really nice to show somebody this music that I've never heard of them. And, it really gets the flow going, the creative flow going for these guys, to keep making music. And that's what we want, right? So go now to your local record store, grab a ticket, see your favorite artists, and share their music to the world. So next time you're listening to music, be more supportive of small independent artists, and just try to find out what local bands are playing in your area. I know around me we have a local community center that every so often, I think every Wednesday, they have bands playing. It can even be cover bands, and it's just really nice to like show out to your community and show those artists that, hey, like I am listening to your music and you do matter. Like this creative type of career that you've chosen is such a good output for everyone, for listeners, for the community, for themselves. And it's just such a rewarding feeling getting these small time guys up there, right? Because as we've said before, is big music people like Drake and Taylor Swift, they get those streams. So they succeed off of those platforms. But small independent artists, we need to make more of an effort. Thank you.